Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk to you about three different people. One is a 23-year-old whose parents are doing well, and she is now making some investment choices about where to invest. One thing which is on her head is some people in her family lost money in 1992 during the Harshad Mehta problem, and that has stayed on in her mind. Believe me, she was born only in 2001 or 2000 or 2001. She's just starting her life, and there is absolutely no reason for her to remember the Harshad Mehta scam, right? She was not there, she was not around, but she remembers it, and she remembers it well, and that weighs in her mind, and so she's gone for a very conservative, say something like 50% debt kind of a portfolio, including plus she's putting 1.5 lakhs in her PPF, and most probably she is likely to file a tax return under the new regime, so which means she is not going to use that ATC benefit. So but that's how she has decided to do her portfolio. Another case is of a 32-year-old girl who is expecting a second kid, and they are planning to sell their current 1 BHK to make a down payment to buy a 3 BHK, right? So this is the second girl, and she has a very aggressive, she and her husband have a very aggressive, say 80-90% in equity kind of a portfolio. The third person is a 65-year-old who has a very longish portfolio of real estate, art fund, physical real estate, REITs, equity, direct equity, mutual funds, debt funds, and bonds, etc., etc. Right? So this is the third person. What I want you to note in these examples is all the three of them seem to be having a very high risk-taking capacity. Understand, risk-taking capacity is high. The 23-year-old has prosperous parents, but because of some muscle memory from the family, somebody has said, oh, this man was so well off, but he lost money during this scam or whatever, right? So that muscle memory is bothering her, and so she is taking a decision for the long term based on some short-term fluctuations which may have happened in 1992 in their family. But the family's ability to take risk has changed. Her own ability to take risk is fantastic because she's got prosperous parents who will never need her money. She has no other plans. I mean, obviously at 22, 23, the marriage plans are also far away. So she has no reason to keep money in any kind of bond funds. So, but she has chosen that also based on the wrong thing that, oh, in the short run something happened in my family long back. So right, so eliminating all this is not going to be very easy. What conversations your parents had when you were 15, 16, 17, 18, or somebody of a dad saying, oh, we can't buy a fridge this month because I've lost some money in the market, so let's wait for 6 months, and all these things hit your head and you tend to remember it. So this girl has a high risk taking ability, and she should have a high risk tolerance, and she also has the need to take risk because that is the way she will build her portfolio. This is the perfect example of a person who should be more or less only in equity, because she is employed somewhere, so her provident fund is anyway going a lot into debt, so there is no reason for her to be investing in a debt fund. She should be in a pure equity fund. Now take this other 32-year-old girl and her husband. He is also about 32, 33. They have high risk taking capacity, absolutely right, but zero risk tolerance for the short term. This is something which they are not able to understand. Their risk taking is all fine, their capacity to take risk, like the first girl, and the first girl also has risk tolerance, because in the short run, if her portfolio were to go up, down, stay as it is, it wouldn't matter at all, because she is not going to draw down. Now the couple with one kid already in school or just about to go to school and the second kid coming, you never know how you have to be prepared, right? If the girl is suddenly told like next you'll need to take 6 months off and stay at home because you have complications in your pregnancy, that income goes down. They want to make a down payment for a house after selling this house, so which means another 30-40 lakhs is required. So that you could postpone the house, right? But you're not going to be able to postpone the baby already on its way. So you'll be forced to postpone the house, and maybe 4 people don't want to live in a 1 BHK. Maybe they need the 3 BHK now because her mother could come and stay with her, or her mother-in-law could come and stay with her. So they need space. So you cannot postpone. So here is a case. Where they have a high risk taking capacity because both of them are earning well, so that's not a problem. Parents may not need the money, but parents are not so well off that you can be sure that they will not need the money. For example, if her mother is coming to stay with her during pregnancy, she has to pay for the airfare, she has to pay for her mother's stay. Extra costs keep going up, right, when you are having a baby, and you have to make a down payment for a house. So all this common, and they want to buy the house. They are not taking a house on rent, so they have to sell this house. They have to buy the house, right? In the interim period, I don't know what they will do, but maybe they will wait to buy the house and then only sell this, right? So some of these things might require some hand holding in cash for 2 months, 3 months. All those things are possible. So the risk-taking capacity is there, but the short-term tolerance is not there. Need to take risk is there because they have to build up money for the children's education, for their own retirement, etc., etc. So need to take risk is there. The capacity to take risk is there, but risk tolerance in the short run is almost zero. Now take the 65-year-old. He has a long, complicated portfolio. His first job is to simplify his portfolio. Does he have risk-taking capacity? Yes, complete risk-taking capacity. One daughter, well settled. So he does not have any need for the drawdown at all. I mean, nothing visible. Something could happen, but really nothing visible. Both the husband and wife are in good shape, and the risk-taking capacity is good. The risk tolerance is high because he's been in the market for a long time. The wife also understands that the market can go up, go down. They have 10x the amount required for their retirement, right? So they're very well off. So therefore, what is missing in this is the need to take risk. There is absolutely no need to take risk. Your portfolio should combine your ability to take risk, your need to take risk, and your risk tolerance in the short run. All these three, when they form, if you draw a Venn diagram, the common portion between these three should decide that this is how your portfolio should be. Unfortunately, people take too much risk, or they are not very aggressive, they are not taking risk, and sometimes after reaching the end of the race, they still keep running. The need to take risk has vanished. You can go and put all your money in bonds or bond funds. It will not matter. Don't take the risk beyond the need to take risk. You've created your portfolio, you're living well. The need to take risk is gone. Simplify your portfolio, right? So this is what everybody should do towards their portfolio. Don't let a short-term fluctuation worry your capital creation in the long run, wealth creation in the long run, right? Understand your. So today, when a person with slightly disconnect between risk tolerance and risk capacity or need to take risk, when you see such people, there are some simple products available like your hybrid funds or your balance advantage fund, your multi-asset fund, which are risky. Make no mistake. Right now, you can't see the risk because equity is booming. When equity does badly, these funds will not do well. So when you see a person like this 65-year-old, when he has got too much money in equity, you can remove some money from equity and put it into a multi-asset fund. For that person, it is reducing the risk because he is taking more risk in equity, and for him, a multi-asset fund makes sense, right? But for the first girl that we spoke about, the 23-year-old, if she is in a multi-asset fund, for her, removing money from there or telling her to put more into equity makes sense because she needs to take risk and she has got the capacity to take risk and she's got risk tolerance. All of that is in place. So you see people making these mistakes of saying, oh, in the long run equity will do well. Absolutely nothing wrong with that theory. Over a 10-year period, maybe there is an 80% chance that equity will do well. Maybe even a small cap, mid cap might do better than even large cap. But we are not getting into those debates for the 65-year-old. The need is gone. So there is no need to take any risk. So he can go into something like an equity savings fund, which gives him some sense of equity, but a large amount of debt, because it doesn't really matter whether he gets 8%, 9% or 11%, because his overall portfolio is big. The rate of return doesn't matter. But when you are very young, like this 23-year-old, again rate of return doesn't matter, because the amount invested is very small. She's just starting out on an SIP, maybe 30,000 rupees per month. So the rate of return that you are going to get on your capital does not matter when your capital is zero or non-existent, right? But when your capital is 20-30 crores, the rate of return matters, then the portfolio matters. But it hardly matters for a person with 30 crores when your requirement is 3 crores. On 30 crores, whether he gets 9% or whether he gets 11% does not really matter. So understand that these words like capacity to take risk, risk tolerance, all these are important, but also has to be managed with need to take risk. All of this have to be in place, and then your portfolio gets created. Thank you.